came into the room and she's like, look at my phone. And then I couldn't see it, so I had to look at mine. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game, but I can't bet against Tom Brady. I have the Bucks winning 31-27 and Tom Brady going to his 10th championship.
Aaron Rodgers and his people were like, they listened to our episode and they said, hold our cheesehead or coat.
Donovan Mitchell, who right now looks to be a superstar.
Just amazing. And I don't care what the Red Sox got for trading Mookie Betts and David Price. The Dodgers, in my opinion, win it. I don't have to see what players they gave up.
Yeah, that's not just the Chiefs. That's Andy Reid. He knows the defenses so well because he's such a great offensive mind.
Well, you said you can't bet against Tom Brady, and as a Cowboys fan and what I just did last weekend, I am not going to bet against Aaron Rodgers.
It was a great series. Game 4 was one of the best games I've ever watched in my entire life.
It just goes to show the offense for the Dallas Stars could not keep up. And when the defense needed to step up, the Lightning's offense just overpowered them.
Chris Paul is one of the most underrated players of all time. He's been the best player wherever he goes, and that includes with the Rockets. Yeah, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. I mean, that's all I can really say. There's two of the top 5 players in the league, and they are very, very good.
Yeah, and I really think the Clippers' chance to win the championship was last year, and they were up 3-1 against the Denver Nuggets.
Hello, I'm Taylor Hearn, and you listen to The Outsiders' Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our 60th episode. This will be the play-in review that we postponed because of our last episode, which was NBA playoff predictions. And make sure to check out our NBA playoff predictions as some are off to a rocky start. It was a very interesting episode. Make sure to know, if you want to know what I'm talking about, make sure to check out our episode. If you know what I'm talking about, thank you. Please do not say anything in the comments about one series right now. Now, we'll get into the play-in review. Successful, sort of, this year, but from the showing of games, I think this should definitely not happen next year. What are your thoughts, Austin?
Yeah, I 100% agree. The only reason why I agreed with this occurring is because of the 72-game schedule. I thought it was very important to make sure that every team had a chance based on an 82-game schedule, and while there wasn't 82 games for that to occur, a play-in was probably the most fair way to allow it to happen. And yeah, I think we get right into the games. I do anticipate for this to stick around. However, I don't see it as the best way to do it. And the first game was a blowout. I would say that the East was a lot less interesting, and I mean a lot less interesting than the West. As the first game was 144-117, Pacers beat Hornets. What are your thoughts about that game?
Yeah, I think the Hornets forgot this was supposed to help them get into the playoffs because they just did not seem in the playoff mode. Pacers were in the playoff mode, and Sabonis did not look like Sabonis that we have seen this year, but still did well on the boards with getting 21 rebounds, but only 14 points. But Pacers did really well, and they played well, and they understood that it was a playoff game, contrary to what the Hornets believed. What did you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't be that hard on the Hornets as Gordon Hayward, arguably their best player, was out. And that really did affect their offensive and defensive side of the ball. I'm surprised that it ended up being so lopsided as I guess we didn't truly anticipate the effect that Gordon Hayward was going to have on the game. But it definitely was clear and evident that his absence was significant, and it was an absolute blowout, a game that did not seem close throughout the entirety of it. And the Pacers moved on to the second game.
Yeah, and then to go to the 9 and 10 seed, we have Memphis versus the Spurs. At the beginning, it was almost like it was going to be another Pacers versus Hornets game with that just incredible, huge deficit near the end of the first quarter. But the Spurs rallied, and it was incredible, and they only lose by 4. Still sad to see the Spurs not in the playoffs, but Memphis is just been playing really well. They played really well in this first game. John Morant and Brooks, Jaren Jackson, that young core is doing really well and causing some havoc. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so when the Memphis Grizzlies did end up getting in that huge lead, I didn't see it holding, and the only reason why I can say that is because of Greg Popovich and his ability to coach a team to at least close to victory, and it definitely showed. They went on, I believe, an 18-0 run in the middle of the game to cut it to where it was a reasonable lead, and then it was a really good game in the whole fourth quarter, and I was really impressed by the willpower of the Spurs and the ability for them to hold through and make it a close game. The Grizzlies and their young guns definitely kept it uh, out of reach at the very end, and that was a great game. And the West just seemed to have three great games, as we'll talk about soon.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the 18-0 run is true. The second quarter, the Spurs outscored the Grizzlies 30-18. So just contributing that deficit to eliminating that deficit. But I think we can move on to the next game we had, which was a little bit closer. The Wizards versus the Celtics. Jason Tatum played really well. I was really impressed with his defensive plays against Westbrook because he just made some block. I think he blocked 2 shots, maybe one, from Westbrook, just because of his length. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, so this was a very impressive game for Jason Tatum, and he imposed his will by scoring 50 points. I mean, what else can you say? Another thing that I think was key was the fact that, like you said, they stifled Russell Westbrook's effect, and Brad, I don't think was 100% healthy, and that definitely uh, prevented them from getting their whole offense together. But Daniel Gafford also didn't play his best, and that will definitely change when they do face against the Pacers. But the Boston Celtics, they did not want to be out of the playoffs, and they kind of proved it. Even though Jaylen Brown is out for the season with his injury, they did not seem affected too much by it, especially in this game against the Wizards.
Yeah, uh, well said. And then to the more interesting game, Lakers versus the Warriors. Uh, role players for the Lakers, I think, was the key part because when Steph was on the court, it Warriors were playing really well. But when Steph left the court, you could really see his absence on the court. And just the bench for LA really came to life in the third. And then the thing that surprised me was the final shot from LeBron when I was like, oh, he's just throwing it up because of the shot clock. It's running down, and he makes it, and then he looks at Steph, which just shows how LeBron has evolved from his very first season to now his 18th season. So just crazy to see. Imagining LeBron is year one shooting a 3 from that deep, and then now in year 18 making that was incredible. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a tremendous shot, and I've come to expect it from LeBron, who's become one of the clutchest players in NBA history as of recently. Uh, I thought the shot was going in, which apparently you did not. LeBron just gives me that vibe that when he shoots a shot with that much confidence, it is going to go in, no matter who's it against or how deep it is. Um, but the Warriors, I think this is a theme that we saw throughout both games that they played in the play-in, that they just could not keep the same energy level, scoring ability, defensive ability, even when Steph Curry was off the court. And we'll see that was their downfall and the reason why they didn't move on to the playoffs.
Yeah, and now to the final. Actually, I was wrong. Now we go to the Wizards versus the Pacers.
Yeah, the final
game.
Eastern Conference play-in.
Yeah. So, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, so I mean, this was I thought it was going to be closer, but Daniel Gafford's defensive abilities were outstanding. I've never seen him play this well in a Wizards jersey, and I was wholeheartedly impressed by the array of blocks and rebounds that he got over Sabonis and Miles Turner and the rest of the crew. Um, and this is a team that looks this game definitely influenced my prediction of being 7 of the Wizards 76ers series going to 7. And yeah, I mean, Bradley Beal played amazing. Westbrook had an amazing game. And like I said, Daniel Gafford's five blocks that he had were outstanding. He just looked like Robert Williams did yesterday against the Nets, just impacting the game in any way possible on the defensive side.
Yeah, to talk about Westbrook and Beal, they didn't have the game they wanted against the Celtics, but they really rebounded in this game. So just they were determined, and that kind of, I think, outbeat the Pacers that are kind of a little bit dinged up. But now I think we can move on to the final game for the play-in tournament, and that is Warriors versus Memphis. Brooks just did an incredible job playing defense against Steph, and the Grizzlies did a great job pressuring Draymond Green and making clogging up the passing lanes, so he didn't have as an easy time to distribute the ball. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, so I mean, you said it pretty well. There was a great amount of play from Dylan Brooks, and I was really impressed by the defense of the Grizzlies. They really stifled Curry, not 100%, but he did shoot under 50% and didn't have his best game from the field. Um, Draymond Green, I did think made his only 3-point attempt, but it definitely was something they were doing, not allowing him to pass anybody, get anybody else open, uh, and I think that really showed why they lost the game. The Warriors are always known as a team that passes the ball a lot, especially when they have more shooters around Curry. And their ability to not be able to pass the ball allowed for them to only score 107 points in extra time combined with regulation. Um, I'm not necessarily surprised with this result, as the Grizzlies have been on the rise for a long time now. And Ja Morant with that clutch floater ended the season for the Warriors, and it's a terrible way for Curry to go out. However, it was a great game, and the Grizzlies played amazing.
Yeah, to just talk a little bit about John Morant, it is his second season, and now this pushed him to the playoffs, and it's just he was rookie of the year last year, and it just reminds me of the rookie of the year before him, Luka Doncic, and then his second year he came in and kind of set the playoffs on fire and showed glimpses of what he hopes to do more. And now seeing that from John Morant, it's great to see the league having new superstars, as some superstars are starting to leave us. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it normally we see a sophomore slump, but a lot of these players are really coming through in their second season, and it can be seen in the playoffs this year, especially after the Grizzlies won Game 1 against the Jazz. Uh, Even though Mitchell was out, the team played amazing, and it's really showing that second-year players can lead their team to a great series.
Yeah, and then you can mention Trae Young in his third season, but making his debut, uh, hitting the dagger floater against the Knicks with 0.9 seconds left. But that ends our episode for the play-in review. Make sure to check out our interviews. We just did one with Coach Ackerman. It was great learning about her, talking to her, getting her thoughts on the Packers situation. Want to know about that? Make sure to pay attention to it and check out other interviews while you're there. And make sure to check out last episode. And our next episode, we will be reviewing the way too early NBA playoff predictions that we made before the season started.
A long time ago.
Yes, and we will see what teams we thought would do much better and what teams exceeded our expectations. And that should be a fun episode, and an episode that I would like to not mention who I had for the ace seed, but I'll have to. So make sure to brush up on that. Check out our way too early playoff predictions, and then that will be our next episode. Now, thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.